Monday, December 15, 2025. Dear listeners, good afternoon and welcome to the 2pm Newscast on Royal FM 88.4. Our major stories. A special road safety campaign has been launched nationwide by the Ministry of Transport with aim to ensure road security during this end-of-year festivities.
IRC told them to don't harass drivers anymore. The relationship between drivers, security forces is going to be ameliorated.
Out of the country, ECOWAS has rejected Guinea-Bissau's transition and warns of sanctions. And in sports, legendary wrestler and actor John Cena has retired from in-ring competition following his most recent match over the weekend. You will get details of these stories and more right ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Today is being observed as International Tea Day with aim to raise awareness of the long history and the deep cultural and economic significance of tea around the world. The goal of the day is to promote and foster collective actions to implement activities in favor of the sustainable production and consumption of tea and raise awareness of its importance in fighting hunger and poverty. Our reporter Ngang Nadesh had a chat with a nutritionist on the popular beverage and put together these details.
Steeped in tradition and bursting with benefits, tea is more than just a comforting brew. It is a global phenomenon with a fascinating nutritional profile. Tea varieties abound with different compositions. Guy Estella is a nutritionist.
We have true tea from the tea plant, and we have herbal teas made from herbs, from fruits, and from spice. When we talk of true tea, they differ. We have black tea, green tea, white tea, and we have yellow tea. Herbal tea is made from leaves, and they are caffeine-free. But as for true tea, they contain caffeine.
Beyond its soothing warmth, tea boasts an impressive array of health benefits.
Tea is rich in antioxidants. These substances helps to protect the body from cell damages. That means the aging to be slow and also helps us to reduce the risk of some chronic diseases in us. It also boosts our heart health by lowering the bad cholesterol that we have in us and also improve blood circulation and also reduce the risk of heart diseases and also stroke.
The nutritionist further outlines the benefits of consuming tea to support digestive health, metabolism, and even weight management.
It also improves our brain function. It makes us to be alert and to concentrate. Herbal tea improves our brain function, and it also reduces risk of memory decline. The tea also supports digestive health like ginger, peppermint. Also reduces blood thinning and also relieves stomach discomfort and also helps too in weight management. It also helps to keep the body sugar low by improving insulin sensitivity.
While tea offers many benefits, excessive consumption or sensitivity can lead to some issues, as the food scientist explains.
It can make you at times restless, anxiety, you're so excited about something when you take it much. Insomnia is a sleep problem. At times you don't sleep, and at times it can also make you have fast heartbeat and headache and also increase urination. And some also have stomach irritations, can cause stomach pain. Some can increase acid reflux, what we normally call gastritis. It can also lead to nausea, and at times it also reduces the absorption of iron, which can lead to iron deficiency anemia.
Tea has been a staple in many cultures for centuries, originating in China and spreading globally through trade routes, and its benefits are best enjoyed in moderation. Like adding the perfect spice to a recipe, a balanced tea habit can enhance overall well-being.
As you heard in one of our top stories, the Ministry of Transport has today, December 15, 2025, launched a special road safety campaign which will be conducted nationwide. This initiative from the ministry falls in line with the end-of-year feast, with aims to ensure road security during this period. In view of this, our reporter Evans Williams Jobati hooked up with a transport trade unionist to get his appreciation. His report.
Coming at a time when many worries have been diverted to the drastic increase in roadside insecurity and accidents, has made transport trade unionists to appreciate this initiative from Transport under the Minister Ernest Massinangale Bibe. Jean Collins II is one of them.
You know, this is a very dangerous period. There are many people that are traveling, and you have children that you should protect them. Now, I think that is very important for government to decide about road safety campaign, because they are there to help us to try to contain these people that are traveling. It is very important so that they are going to bring drivers to go in very low speeds. Anyway, we are very happy for that.
The experts in transportation is of the opinion that this will greatly facilitate inter-urban movements as well as ensure safe movement of goods and services.
Anyone who is a driver should protect himself when driving. So it's not the minister or the police is going to bring me to drive well. So that this special period, there are many people on the way. It is very difficult only for we drivers to maintain or to contain them. Road safety campaign is something that anyone should take it as a principle of driving.
Despite the latest squabbles between security agents at checkpoints and drivers, the leader of the Transporters Trade Union in Cameroon believes things will move on well.
What is known now is that even security forces, they know that they have mistaken. Okay, they have done an error. And their hierarchy told them to don't harass drivers anymore. The relationship between drivers, security forces is going to be ameliorated. Security forces should know that we are important, and we should know that security forces are also important.
It is wise noting that this road safety campaign, which begins today, will span till the 31st of January 2026 with a special focus laid on excessive speed, driving under the influence of alcohol, and dangerous overtaking on highways.
Onto the society, intensive traffic congestion has returned to most urban cities in the country, including Yaoundé. This jam is usually as a result of constant mobility by individuals in and out of public places as they prepare for end-of-year celebrations. Residents have been voicing their concerns and sharing tips to cope with the situation. Details with Glory Ngange in this report.
I'm actually on my way to the market and the traffic is just so horrible. Things are just being expensive. People are walking up and down. Vehicles are full. To even have a vehicle from my house to the market was not an easy task.
It is that time of the year when markets and streets get busier as families are plunged into full-time preparations for end-of-year feast, a trend which many have already adapted to.
It's always a problem in Yaoundé during the end of year with a lot of traffic. You know, people are going to markets to buy things because Yaoundé is a very busy town, and the only thing that can be done is to let drivers follow the road safety rules.
The situation is challenging, especially to students who are currently taking end-of-course examinations or finalizing the scheme of work for the first term of the academic year. Damaris and Roslyn have both shared their experiences.
It is really challenging. You want to take a taxi to go to school, you need to be very early in the morning so that you can meet few people. If not, you will not have a taxi, or when you have a taxi, a journey of 15 minutes, you end up being there in like 45 minutes or even 1 hour.
You even try to leave your house early, but you still end up getting stuck in traffic for more than 30 minutes, for more than 45 minutes. It is stressful and it is horrible. You go late for classes and the lecturer might not even allow you to enter the class.
Given that it is a phenomenon which can hardly be prevented, Yaoundé city dwellers like Favor have devised some survival strategies.
I've just had to adjust. These days, I make sure I leave home much earlier than usual to beat the rush and avoid unnecessary stress. And I also try to use shorter or less busy routes where possible. Even though it's not easy, but a bit of planning helps me stay on time and keep me calm amid the chaos.
With Christmas coming up in less than 2 weeks, the congestion is expected to intensify, aggravated by the deplorable nature of some road networks in Yaoundé and other cities across the national territory.
It is 11 minutes past the hour of 2 p.m. You are listening to the 2 p.m. Newscast on Royal FM 88.4 and live on YouTube on Royal FM Cameroon. The 6th edition of the Youth Connect Cameroon Convention was held at the Yaoundé Conference Center on December 10, 2025 under the theme Artificial Intelligence and Socio-Economic Inclusion of Youth, Opportunities and Challenges. During the event, the country's coordinator for the United Nations Development Programme reaffirmed support for youth empowerment initiative and gave out recommendations for the upcoming phase of this program slated between 2025 and 2029. Let's listen to Matthew Chumela, President or resident representative of the UNDP, who spoke on the microphone of our reporter Anilizet Ambassa.
We just finished our first session of the steering committee of this joint program, Government for Cameroon and the UN system, which the second phase, which was launched last year. And during this session, we appreciate progress so far obtained in the implementation of the project. We found that there was a lot of results, particularly benefiting to the youth in terms of coaching, mentoring, and also in terms of their business. And today we demonstrate that this session responds also to the main principles of Youth Connect, which are about the connection, learning, and also empowerment. We do observe during the stand visit that Cameroon youth are very, very committed to this Youth Connect program. We finish with some recommendation which will allow to boost for next year Youth Connect in Cameroon. First of all, this is about this ecosystem. We need to assess, to identify other members in order to bring all the partners together in order to support Youth Connect. And also another recommendation is it's not a recommendation, but it's a hope, and we work that with the Mr. Minister, the President of the Steering Committee, to ensure that Cameroon will be able to host, why not, the African Summit on Youth Connect.
Away from that, Central African Republic has launched a strategic port on the Ubangi rivers, inaugurated by President Faustin Archange Touadéra, a project valued at 168 billion CFA francs, expected to provide the country with logistic infrastructure capable of supporting its imports, a decision that questions the future of the Douala-Bangui corridor, mostly used by the neighboring country for import. Jeffrey Tachum asked some economic experts and captured their insights. His report.
For economists, it is important to first understand how the future port of Ubangi is conceived. Henry Kwam, director of the Cameroon Economic Policy Institute.
The port of Mubaye, that's located across the Ubangi River, is a strategic river transit point for the Central African Republic. It plays a vital role because that's where the capital gets essential goods, which include food, agricultural products, industrial products. However, the port infrastructure is very limited because the underdeveloped river banks essentially don't serve as good landing points for ships, and that's hindering operation because it requires strict temperature control.
Although expected to facilitate trade and reduce dependency on the Douala-Bangui corridor, this initiative is likely to face obstacles from the security crisis in the country, according to The Economist.
Launching this port and this investment signals that the Central African Republic is going to be able to trade many more products going forward. And that ultimately means that the role for the Douala seaport or the Kribi seaport is going to be diminished. But it's also important to note that the Central African Republic faces several security crises. Now, the main official checkpoints are located in Bangui and Congo, but we should not forget that there are also roadblocks that are held by armed groups.
Therefore, considering that Central Africa mostly relies on the port of Douala and its road corridor, with nearly 80% of its import transitioning through the economic capital, just what could such decision mean for Cameroon's economy, considered as the regional giant of the CEMAC zone? Jamo Haiwang, research analyst at the CEPI.
For Cameroon, this represents a potential long-term threat to commercial transit volumes, especially if Central African Republic succeeds in making the port fully operational year-round. However, the Douala corridor remains more reliable today despite persistent congestion at the port and access roads. The real impact will depend on Central African Republic ability to make the river port viable and competitive.
Meanwhile, Central African Republic and Cameroon trade relations are not as profitable as with other neighboring countries like Nigeria.
The Central African Republic is not one of Cameroon's most important trading partners. And so the implications for the government's revenues are going to be perhaps low to medium. But I think on the whole, it doesn't really change the picture for Cameroon. Cameroon is still the strategic hub for all countries across Central Africa. And although we have security crisis, we have fairly well-developed regional infrastructures that connect us to these countries.
In the long term, the launch of this port infrastructure is expected to reduce Bangi's dependence on the Douala-Bangui corridor. For Cameroon, the stakes are high as a decline in Central African goods transit will lead to a drop in port and customs revenues.
We take this note in politics. The Executive Regional Committee members will be officially installed this Tuesday, December 16, 2025, coming as part of the full rights session. The presidents of every 10 regional councils will be made public, with electoral constituency battles announced in some regions should the CPDM control all 10 regional seats. The NUDP, who surpasses them in the Adamawa region, will keep its leadership. To the West region, the party in regime will keep its seat, but will also need to coexist with the CDU, UMS, and MPC. In the South, the race is within the CPDM with 3 aspirants for the Supreme post. Meanwhile, Louis-Paul Motaze will be the appointed representative for the West region. Benoit Somhet is the Adamawa region, and Joseph Lee in the South, Felix Mbayo in the Southwest, and Paul Tassong will head the Northwest. This according to a communique signed by the party's Secretary General, Jean Kwete. And our senior reporter and editor-in-chief, Mapala Zita, has joined me with our international page. Hello, Zita.
Hello to you, Crispine.
Zita, ECOWAS has rejected Guinea-Bissau's transition and warns of sanctions.
That's right, Crispine. West African leaders have rejected a transition program announced by Guinea-Bissau's military rulers, calling instead for a swift return to constitutional order and warning of targeted sanctions against those obstructing the process. The position was reaffirmed on Sunday in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, where heads of state and government met for the 68th summit of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, amidst growing pressure and political instability across the region. Opening the summit, the chairman of ECOWAS Commission and Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada Bio warned that the resurgence of unconstitutional changes of government continues to pose a serious threat to regional stability.
The African Union has condemned what it called the heinous attack targeting the Jewish community in Australia, Zita.
The attack on Sydney's Bondi Beach killed at least 15 people who were gathered at the popular spot to celebrate Hanukkah, while reports this morning say some 38 others are currently being treated in hospitals, with several of them in a critical condition. In a statement yesterday, the chairperson of the African Union extended his condolences to the victims' families, stressing that the African Union rejects terrorism in all its forms. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, added that the massacre underscores the imperative of protecting all communities from hatred, violence, and extremism. It is worth noting, Crispin, that the attack is the deadliest shooting in Australia in almost 3 decades.
What else is making news around the world, Zita?
The Louvre Museum has closed its doors to thousands of disappointed visitors today as staff launch a strike to protest working conditions and security failures at the Paris landmark just 2 months after a jewel heist. The roughly 400 employees who voted to continue the strike at the Louvre are demanding extra staff and measures to tackle overcrowding added to the walls of the world's most visited museum, just as France is gearing up for the Christmas holidays. Prosecutors have indicted former South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol for insurrection, accusing him of seeking to provoke military aggressions from North Korea to help consolidate his power. Special Prosecutor Chon Yun-suk told a briefing today that his team had indicted Yoon, 5 former cabinet members, and 18 others on insurrection charges following a 6-month probe into his declaration of martial art law. And then far-right candidate Jose Antonio Cast has won a runoff election to become Chile's 38th president, ousting the center-left government currently in power. With almost all the ballots counted last evening, Cast prevailed with 58% of the vote. His rival and former Labour Minister Janet Jara, who represented the government's coalition, conceded defeat shortly after the polls closed and wished Carl success for the good of the South American country. Back to you, Crispin.
Thank you very much, Mapala Zita. We come back to Talk Sport. Biwa Brian, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Frino Crispin.
We begin in football, where the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute, yesterday crowned Panthère Sportive champions of Cameroon.
Panthère Sportive Dundee secured the prestigious 2025 Cameroon Cup title, defeating Colombe Sportive 3-1 in a penalty shootout. Yesterday's final, which traditionally marked the close of the sporting year, was a high-profile event chaired by the Prime Minister, Head of Government, on behalf of the Head of State. In the third game, Panthère's path to victory began quickly when Brandon Foppa put them ahead just 7 minutes into the set encounter. Colombe Sportive, however, leveled the scores when Patrick Ezimbi converted a penalty kick, tilting the fate of the trophy to penalties, where Panthère ultimately prevailed. This hard-fought win delivers Panthère's third Cameroon Cup title, adding to their previous successes in 1988 and 2009. The club also boasts significant regional pride as they stand as the 4th team from the West region to reach the final in the last 4 editions and the first club from the region to lift the trophy since Fufu Club of Baham in 2023. Post-match reactions from Eyong Magdela, Emmanuel Bekwe and coach Yves Clement Aroga.
Congratulations to Coach Yves Clement Aroga and the entire Panthère Sportive of Dundee team. If you realize, for the past 4 seasons consecutively, a team from the West region has always made it to the final of the Cup of Cameroon, and after Fufu, Panthère takes it again to the West region. It is joy for the people coming all the way from the West region.
We feel so excited because we're working for months for this, to be very honest. We've worked so hard day and night. You can see the joy everywhere. It's massive, so we are grateful to the Almighty. It was really difficult. It was not easy at all. Starting from Bagante down to here, we even had to come here for close camping. It was not easy at all, but we had to do it. It's our job. We had to do it. It was not funny at all, but
I'm very happy. It's many time of work. They work very hard, and all those players, they do their job. The key is work. Work. That's all. There's no magic.
AFCON 2025 Morocco, a special page in the news.
Brian, with only 6 days left to the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, a portion of Cameroon's contingent is ahead in Morocco.
The Indomitable Lions camp in Casablanca, Morocco is steadily growing. Yesterday, the first 4 players to arrive, Frank Magri, Jezino Yamsi, Christopher Wu, and Mohamedou Nagida, kicked off training with a Moscow relaxation session led by physical trainer Gefa Brian. The roster expanded later on Sunday with the arrival of 4 key players in Casablanca: Simon Kapandwebut, Nu Tolo, Arnold Mael Kandem, and Eric Junior Dina Bimbe. Further significant arrivals are anticipated today with 12 more players, including the likes of Edward Sombang, Samuel Koto, Carlos Baleba, Kaleta Eyong, Darlin Yongwa, Atiu Avom, Olivier Kemen, Danny Namaso, Martin Atemenge, Patrick Soko, and Jean Junior Onana.
Away from the Lions Den, Brian, the Confederation of African Football has listed 20 items that have been prohibited in stadiums during the AFCON.
To maintain public safety and security, CAF has implemented a zero-tolerance policy on items that pose a physical threat. Fans have been restricted from bringing fireworks, flares, or any form of explosives into the venue, as these items pose serious fire hazards and can obstruct the view of spectators. Stadium regulations also strictly prohibit the consumption of or possession of alcohol and illegal substances within the stadium perimeters and seating areas. To prevent objects from being thrown onto the pitch and to manage potential physical hazards, the transportation of bottles, cans, and any glass items into the venue is also disallowed. Additionally, electronic nuisance like laser pointers have been banned, as they pose a significant distraction and potential danger to players, officials, and other spectators. With the AFCON having as an aim to celebrate the sports in a spirit of respect and unity, CAF regulations emphasize keeping sports free from political influence. The Confederation has stated that any political or offensive banners, signage, or clothing deemed offensive, racist, or disruptive to the atmosphere will be confiscated, and the bearers may face injection from the stadium.
AFCON 2025 Morocco, that was a special page in the news.
We now talk global sports, where legendary wrestler and actor John Cena has retired from in-ring competition following his most recent match over the weekend. The powerhouse, who has achieved global fame, leaves behind a remarkable legacy, which you highlight, Brian.
John Cena is one of the most recognizable and successful professional wrestlers in history, transitioning his in-ring dominance into significant Hollywood career. His legacy within World Wrestling Entertainment (WWE) is defined by his championship accolades, a strong connection with the fan base, and unwavering commitment to the company for over 2 decades. Cena's most significant achievement is his status as 16-time WWE World Champion, which ties the all-time record set by the legendary Ric Flair. This achievement alone places him in the conversation as one of the greatest champions in the history of the sport. Aside from being a 16-time WWE champion, John Cena is also a 5-time United States champion, 2-time Royal Rumble winner in 2008 and 2013, Money in the Bank contract winner in 2012, and several other awards. Here's the Vox Pop on the memories Cameroonians have of John Cena's days in the ring.
John Cena was one of the wrestlers that I watched growing up in my childhood. I used to really love Cena. Cena made his name as an elite wrestler when he fought. I can't really remember that his opponent was for the I Do Quit fight. At a certain moment, he was untouchable in the WWE.
All I could remember was those days when we used to rush to a neighbor's house, scramble in a crowded line just to watch a John Cena fight. There were other bigger stars in those days: Batista, Big Show, Undertaker, Kane, Rey Mysterio, but John Cena was different. Only his entrance song will light up our childhood.
Gone are the days of John Cena, Massa, the one who defeated Great Khali, someone of 2 meters, and John Cena was down there 1 point something. Cena, when they want to talk about wrestling, John Cena can be termed as wrestling.
I've been a John Cena lover since from birth. I've watched him since when I was a kid, and I've always enjoyed him, be it in movies or in the WWE as well. Sadly, the most memorable fight is the last fight against Gunther that haunt me forever, because I saw John Cena tap out. I've never seen John Cena tap out before. I've seen him pass out multiple times, but never given up. But he gave up in his last match against Gunther.
Let's welcome Francine Ateba for the summary of this newscast in the French language. Good afternoon, Francine.
Bonjour, Frino et Crispine. Ce 15 décembre 2025 est journée internationale du thé. La consommation de cette boisson est de plus en plus prisée par les populations et revêt des vertus nutritionnelles. Lancée en 2005 à New Delhi pour défendre les droits des travailleurs du thé et sensibiliser aux enjeux de sa production. Cette célébration est l'occasion l'occasion de commémorer l'héritage culturel et les bienfaits pour la santé ainsi que l'importance économique du thé. Toujours en national, la campagne spéciale de prévention et de sécurité routière débute ce lundi 15 décembre 2025 sur toute l'étendue du territoire national. C'est une opération qui s'inscrit dans le cadre des fêtes de fin d'année en vue de prévenir les accidents de la circulation sur nos routes. À l'étranger, la CEDEAO menace la Guinée-Bissau de sanctions ciblées. Après le coup d'État, la communauté économique des États de l'Afrique de l'Ouest menace d'imposer des sanctions à toute personne qui tenterait d'entraver le retour à un régime civil. Cette décision intervient après un sommet ordinaire des chefs d'État du bloc régional à Abuja, au Nigeria, dont l'ordre du jour a été dominé par le putsch en Guinée-Bissau et ocre avorté au Bénin il y a une semaine. En sport, la finale de la Coupe du Cameroun a eu lieu le 14 décembre 2025 au stade Omnisport Amadou Ahidjo de Yaoundé, opposant la colonne sportive du Dia et Lobo à la Panthère Ndundé. La Panthère a remporté la finale 3-1 au tir au but après un score d'un but partout à l'issue du temps réglementaire. C'est la 3e fois que la Panthère remporte la coupe après ses victoires en 1988 et en 2009.
The 2 p.m. newscast was technically assisted by Ulrich Komoy, our sound engineer and studio clerk, video editor Brian Bida, producer Jeffrey Tachum, news editing Mapalazita, editorial coaching Abel Bela Samari, coordination Roger Kiek, general supervision the Reverend Pastor Bisaya Emmanuel Noel. For presentation, I have been Frinwe Crispin. Up next is the second part of Fraîcheur Royale, a presentation of the same person, which is our one and only
Raisa Parker. Pretty Crispina, thank you for the news.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, you're welcome. D'accord.
Okay.
I'm back to the second part of Fraîcheur.